Mr. Colvin, you can proceed. Yes.
Ms. Jones, you've got things happening in your personal life that are pretty traumatic, fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm not trying to upset you, you understand
Right,
that?
exactly.
And I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next series of tracks, that's where you're doing the jump trailing and you're going down highway.
Highway 50.
Okay, and you go out to Highway 50 because law enforcement takes you out there, right?
Yes, they did.
And they don't tell you why they take you out there, right?
No.
But they want you to go down the highway, right?
They want us to check an area, they said.
Okay. Now, you were aware of the fact that they found items of Ms. Bergfeld down that road, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, assuming they find items down that road, it's not at all surprising to you the dog is scenting on Ms. Bergfeld down there, right?
Yes, we wanted to send down there. Doesn't mean that she went down there. Things could have just been lost, thrown out.
Sure. But if Ms. Bergfeld's items are found down Highway 50 like the Breadcrumb Trail, the fact that your dogs are running down the breadcrumb trail's not surprising, right?
Yes, it is, because anyone could have thrown those out. The dogs wouldn't follow Ms. Bergfeld's thrown out items if she herself had not gone down. They were trailing her, not those pieces themselves. They wouldn't trail. They were
Didn't you do jump trailing coming back up Highway 50?
coming back towards Grand Junction.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, and I got negative.
Okay. So when you're coming back up, the dog hits on a particular location, and you think Ms. Bergfeld's personal property was there, right?
That was the only thing I could think of, because there was no exit. There was, when I got out, I tried the dog, I got a negative. They said, try over there.
Okay.
I went over.
Let's be clear. Mm-hmm. Coming back up, if the dog hits on something hits on a location where Ms. Bergfeld's property is,
Yes.
that makes sense to you.
Yes,
You
it
think that's
does.
realistic.
Right, right.
When you're going down Highway 50, you do not think it's realistic the dogs are hitting on pieces of property all the way down the road, right?
The dogs didn't hit on the property going, on her items, going away from Grand Junction.
Just
They
that
just
one
ran,
time coming
they ran, just ran straight. Right down, down the, away from Grand Junction, trailing.
Your dogs never jumped off Highway 50 going southwest for a mile or 2 miles into the fields over there, right?
I did not do anything like that. I just went straight down the highway.
And so if there was Ms. Bergfeld's scent a mile, 2 miles off that road in the southwest, your dogs would have found it, right?
If she would have gone, speaking my dog, if she would have physically herself either walked or gone down that particular area that you're saying, then my dog should have.
When you get down to Bridgeport Road, that leads you down to the river, right?
Yes, sir?
And down at the river, your dogs go to the river, and there's no exit trail from the river, right?
That is true.
Okay? And there's all kinds of cadaver scent in the river, right?
Not in the river, just right at the end, the last little peninsula area there. At the time, there were logs and things like that, right in that spot.
Okay, I'm not trying to confuse you, and I think
Sure.
I may have confused you. There's a bunch of cadaver scent in the river. Could you find cadaver scent way down the river?
No, that was live scent I was doing.
Wait, time out. The river searches you're doing way down river or live scent?
For her scent, yes. I did not get cadaver out in that river when I was in the boat.
I'll be darned. So task 35 and 36, way down river, that's live scent?
Yes, sir.
Her live scent is on the river, way down the river.
Yes, sir.
Well, obviously, that's not because she bled out, right? You're not detecting live scent off of blood.
My dog is trained 2 different areas. He's trained cadaver, but he's also trained for blood, which is separate.
Was you doing a blood search?
No, but I'm just saying that blood in itself, my dog is not trained that blood itself is cadaver, because somebody could bleed in an area and not, like in a kitchen, you can cut yourself.
Let me cut to the chase.
Sure.
When your dog's scenting way down the river, is your dog scenting blood, or is your dog scenting the live scent?
He's scenting live scent. He's scenting live scent.
So either somebody's putting Ms. Bergfeld's scent down the river, or your dog's telling you Ms. Bergfeld went down the river.
No, when my dog was scented down there, he started to go up the river. He wanted to go up the river. He started running up the edge of, to get closer to it, both of those times.
Well, if your dog's scenting Ms. Bergfeld's scent way down the river, how can you even say there's not an exit trail? I mean, the fact of the matter is apparently Ms. Bergfeld went down the river.
No, because we were up there and I tried to find an exit trail all along the edge. I did everything I could to hope to find an exit trail, because I knew that if I couldn't find an exit trail, to the best of my knowledge, that she did not leave there alive. So I did try that whole area, trying to find an exit trail.
You believed, based upon the tracks you were conducting back then, at the time, you believed Ms. Bergfeld's body was in the river, right?
No, I believe she went as far as that spot there, and from what my dog, the best of my abilities in reading my dog, that is where she died.
And you believe her body stayed there?
No. If it stayed there, probably somebody would have found it. It was there were a lot of people that would put their boats there.
So you're saying that you thought the body had been removed?
I did not think it was in the river because the dog was not giving me a cadaver scent in the river. So yes, I would imagine that.
But you never, ever did cadaver scent coming out of Bridgeport?
I did try, when I was in the boat, I tried cadaver. I did try cadaver.
Well, wait, you just said you didn't think the cadaver was in the river. So doing
No.
cadaver when you're on the river, that's a waste of your time. You also said you didn't think the body was left there. You didn't do cadaver scent going up Bridgeport Road.
When I gave the dog the cadaver command, the dog indicated right there at those logs. If the body would have gone in the water, from the training that my dog has had, he would go into the river and try to locate it. If it were to move down the river, he would try to swim down the river. He did not do that. He did not.
You don't think the body is under the logs, right?
No, sir. No, we actually looked the best that we could, just in case. Law enforcement pawed around,
Okay.
looking just in case.
Okay, so when you leave there, you don't think the body's under the logs?
No, sir.
You don't think the body's in the river?
No, sir.
So you think the body has been taken away?
Yes, sir.
And you don't do cadaver scent up Bridgeport Road?
I had never at that point done cadaver in a vehicle and to try to follow a cadaver in a vehicle. I had never even thought of doing that. That would have been brand new, but it never occurred to me to try. I've only done live people in vehicles.
So all that scenting with cadaver in the boat, and the dogs pulling the boat, and you're turning off the engine, all of that stuff is for no reason, because you don't think the body's in the river. Really?
The dog jumped off, and we were on, when the dog jumped off, we let him pull us to where he wanted to go, and he went back to those logs.
You were taken and did a track by a hotel.
It was quite a ways away from a hotel. It was at some intersection.
Well, it was like the hotels, like basically when you start on that Sanford Drive, you go down Sanford Drive, and once you turn the bend, and there's no other roads off of it, you just go straight down Sanford Drive. Once you come around the bend, you're looking at the Westgate Inn right there.
Yeah, I don't know. It was pitch black. It was extremely late,
Okay.
and the,
Excellent point.
So-
You were basically in a semi-industrial location. The only things around where you're doing that track is storage units. There is no indication of any life in that area in the middle of the night, except for the giant hotel that you see when you walk around the corner, right?
sure, but again, I'm not leading this. The dog is. The dog could care less whether there's storage buildings or hotels.
And you go straight to room 227.
The dog did. It means nothing to me.
And you're aware of the fact that when Ms. Platts did it, the dog goes to 117, 118, and 119, specializing in 117 and 119.
I did not know that because I was not there to see, to see it, but I'm aware of it now.
You are aware of it now?
Yes.
Okay. So you know your dog is staying in one room, her dog's staying in a different room, and you're aware of the fact there's really nothing else to be looking for when police put you on Sanford Drive in the nighttime, other than the Westgate. I mean, that's it.
But I couldn't see it. When I'm working, my dog is in front of me, especially on a road. I am actually looking at his hind end, watching where my feet are going. I'm not looking down there planning where I'm going to go.
Would you agree that it would sure be cool if law enforcement could find something, anything indicating Mr. Jones stayed in room 227 anytime in close proximity to this?
I didn't know where, it makes no difference to me. I go where the dog goes. I don't know if it makes a difference to law enforcement.
Question is, wouldn't that be cool if law enforcement had been able to find something putting Mr. Jones in room 227?
Judge, I'm going to...
Sure, I guess so.
That corroborates.
But, I don't know the results.
Judge, I'm going to object to any further questioning along that same line. I mean, her comment on what else might be cool in the investigation is irrelevant.
Well, I think he further talked about it being corroboration, so the objection's overruled.
Oh, you tracked going out of Bridgeport, right?
Yes, sir.
Specifically, you tracked Mr. Jones going out of Bridgeport.
Yes.
And you specifically tracked Mr. Jones going out of Bridgeport, heading back to Grand Junction.
Yes, there was a crossing. I crossed over.
Dog, you start tracking on the Bridgeport roadside.
That's correct.
Dog goes across the highway and then heads north on Highway 50.
Yeah, back towards, yes, sir.
He doesn't go south, and that's where the body of Ms. Bergfeld's found. You know that.
I found out that many years later.
Okay. So, you agree, dogs follow scent from old to new, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if the dog comes out of Bridgeport and it doesn't go south, then what you're telling us is Mr. Jones didn't go south going out of Bridgeport.
I just had what the dog did. I mean, he could have gone back towards Grand Junction and done a U-turn and gone back out the other way. I do not know.
Fair to say anything that contradicts your dog's findings, you have to have an explanation for it. You don't believe your dog made any mistakes.
Not that I'm aware of.
Unless law enforcement affirmatively comes to you and tells you you made a mistake, you assume your dogs are correct.
Or unless, it doesn't have to be law enforcement. It could be something I've read in the paper where somebody says they've seen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and recess for the evening. Please remember the instructions for the recesses. We'll see you back at 9 o'clock in the morning. I think tomorrow's Friday, so we'll see you back then. Thank you so much. Please rise for a jury. Our jury has left the courtroom. Anything else, Mr. Rubenstein?
No, I think we made a record at the bench as far as what I would make an additional record on, so nothing.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Colvin?
I don't know how much what we said at the bench.
Let's see, and then the microphone's turned away from you. So.
I don't know how much what we said at the bench was picked up on the record, so just in case Mr. Rubenstein and I's conversation was picked up, I'd ask the record now reflect that though I was engaged in discussions, the decision I arrived at was for strategic purposes, so.
Okay, with regard to stipulating?
To the testimony of former CBI agent Jordan.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'll see you back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, please. We're in recess.
Thank you.
Thanks.